Deso de mama we bomona bo mamu o mamu yepa we pe o boyengo we mo boye plawa pa ibo wa ye fengwa de plebu kwa po we pa ya de do de kwa po ambo blabo we ta do kwa po amu si abaya zaunti we da ja kwa po swade we kwa po la Weye blabo kwa mo weye chielu kwa mo weye niabi kwa mo weye baya ba kwa baya twane daja weye kwa mo apukeiri no boni o wa yan wa de ono duka bomo lo eyanje aje disayu ogun amura amode awo yeah Apui, pupu na puo, apui, pupu na puo, nous on est bien, yo lui, Mati yo ouais. Asan o ayede o, ira osan o ayede, yanja bwa mi se continue osan o, yanja bwa mi se continue osan o. Gula vale, je won, ase o.
Welcome to the show. Today is Friday. Let's be strong. Let's go across the border to La Côte d'Ivoire. They can be stealing their oil. They think that they are business in that country. They're not just nothing here. I don't want to give myself high blood pressure for that.
So they know why I'll song that I said, Bill. Yeah, Jacques. I'll believe you. My prospects on what
they let it say the LPR all the time. They're not the first time, they're not the second time. That's why I'm going to give myself pressure for. No way.
Usually
when they start a music playing, then that's the cow tail we can use. In the southeastern side of
Bose Nathalie, Ase Odomi, Akoyirma Iyo. Asai Monique Lassage, Assemble, Assemble Ayede, Assemble, Timoleon de Sansa, Assemble.
Welcome to the show. I'm the here for the Liberia Public Radio, Lpr-Tv. It's Friday. I'm going to do my own thing.
Kashalot Assemble, Mama. Kasimon Assemble Ayede.
The song says let us dance. Don't forget that you're going in that country. Lack of interest. Yeah, I gotta dance, man. What the hell? Strictly told La Côte d'Ivoire this evening. I told you I'm a traditional. I'm not happy that people are taking the in Liberia. I'm taking our petroleum products to create economic stagnation. So why would I dance for? Today is Friday. My loving brother in Minnesota, I'm going to make him dance on crowd music this evening. From La Côte d'Ivoire, welcome. Mikey knows what I'm talking about. Hey, I saw the British PM, he resigned. They poured heat on him, he gave it. Our men, they would not resign. We were taught to so corner we can, you take all the vitamin, nothing will come from other age. Welcome. This is Lpr-Tv. We're going to have a national conference. Let's get a ball rolling. Sometimes we're going to spice it. When you say one thing from there, it means something there, then you go to another. Let's get a ball rolling. Some sort of silliness is going here. Today is Friday, man. We have our own life to live too. When we talk, we gotta make ourselves happy. Let me bring our man here. He's a senior contributor, analyst, educator, 3-in-1, multiple. He involves multiple tasks, all in one. They are here this evening. It's Friday. We say TGIF. We say thank God it's Friday. Why are these people drinking the oil in Liberia? Why, when we try to find a doctor to attend to some sort of chronic disease, and the doctor is trying to order some medication that are not found in Liberia, then when you go look, then it open another worm on the side. What is responsible? How long should we talk, you talk, all of us talk this thing here? I have no idea. Senior political analyst, contributor, Sisi Goyo is here with us to help us out. The demolition exercise, what was lacking, what we need to know. From the far right, Atlanta, Georgia, the people who wanted to loot the election here, he's there, but I don't think he's in support of them. I can't even say that, but he's not. Amos George. The liberal progressive is still on the run, but he will come. He's talking behind the scene. Let me bring you my guys here this evening. Let me go to Minneapolis, where the man Goya is standing by. And let's go to Atlanta, Georgia, the man from the far right, Amos George. Best of political analysts, commentators, objective, fair, balanced. But sometimes they are ANC and they are Gonglo Bay, they can't give us a chance. But they are here. We're going to have the conversation. Gentlemen, good evening. Happy Friday. TGIF, thank God it's Friday.
Thank God. And good evening, Mr. So.
Yeah. Hey, my papi, how you doing? I like that shirt, though. Mr. So, what happened to the background of where the executive mansion go, man? Is that a message you're sending subliminally that we try to decode it?
The mansion, I don't even know who is really. Can we put that mansion on Craigslist or eBay? And then we get good money.
Facebook Marketplace is the hottest one.
We should put it on Facebook Marketplace. Let's see. Maybe I think we need to reverse this whole decision here. We either talk to our man from Amazon or Jeff, he's not there again. I don't know who is the guy, who's the CEO or whatever. We can put it there, the man with the highest money, they will buy it. Then we know who be man, who park it get Fantinet and who park it.
That might become a very good vacation resort for the the uber rich, you know.
Where are you? Are you coming now? You late night? A hammer hanging behind you?
Yeah, I brought it for the community people. I brought it for the community. For my
you want to put Josh in it?
No, but when anywhere you put Loma man or you put Lofa County people or Bon County people who got to bring the county to us. I brought my hammer in my yard. I like to lay in it to remember like
I'm getting a little nervous here. You are a Gonglo guy. You're not even get within the proximity of that 45 A-flow, 4-flow mansion. You start by Josh.
Yeah.
Dualo. Something come to town. These men ain't get closer yet to start talking more all around. How they gonna when you're winning, how they gonna be carrying you in the street?
No. Sorry? We already declaring our assets. So when time kind of people see us with hammer when they won't win it, just say we ain't buy hammer before. So
okay, gentlemen, good evening to our many viewers, listeners. We say good evening. Welcome. This is the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Gentlemen, thank you as usual for your commitment to national cause. Okay, let's be a little bit generous here. So today is Friday. I'm going to do something unusual. I hope it's not going to be like embarrassing. So I'm going to put the phrase out and you can think about it, and later on you tell me before we wrap up. I swear, man, me I tired with this thing. I want to know why you tired with we're using the word I swear, man. I want yeah. I know about your guy when you on the floor. Okay, gentlemen, good evening and welcome. How is the let's start from Minneapolis area there. Sissy, how is that end today so far?
Well, we are good. We're not too hot. We feel almost like Texas. It's okay. Global warming is working. Now Minnesota feels like Texas, and Texas feels like Minnesota. So we're good. But if you want me to start out with, I swear, man, I am tired hearing about our judicial system not working well, and I definitely swear, man, I tired with our education system just being in shambles. So those are the two things I swear.
You as an educator, that one couldn't be left behind. So, Amos Joyce, I swear, man.
I swear about tired with the student business, gas business.
I left that one for you.
I swear, I tired with the recap budget the National Legislature passed, the House of Representatives passed. I tired. Nobody to talk for the Liberian people.
What are you talking?
I mean, as a government.
Okay, as a government. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. This is our conversation here this evening. As usual, a lot is unfolding in Liberia, but let's, as you know, we always like to make the news proportionate and for the good of our people. We can't confine ourselves with only our surroundings. That's not what news. News is expansions of what is happening in today's world. You got to catch up with the speed, know what is going on around you, good or bad. So one of a long-time African leader for 4 decades. You're going to know him. I want to put a quiz up here. Eduardo, don't answer this question here. Sissy, don't answer this question here. I'm going to give you a few minutes to see our listeners. Who is this guy? He's dead. He's a long-time African leader, 4 decades. He died at the age of 79. Let's see who's gonna call this here. I'm gonna give a few minutes. Let me do a brains teaser this evening. Jeremiah Young, good evening. Welcome. Who is this guy? Allison Mami, Moses Dolo, good evening. Brian Hinen, Joyce Kemaka, good evening. Who is this guy? Alice Nelson, Gideon Benzema, and Kwame Musa. Who is this guy here? He's a long-term African leader. Okay, airplane can blow horn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nobody gonna get an answer. Guys, you want to take a shot?
I think to keep it interactive, let's hold on a little bit because I think I'm seeing some people that are trying to get on here.
Okay, all right.
Let's come back to it during our next recess and see if
okay. I will leave here. Let me move the picture here, and that's what we will do here. We respect the views and everybody. We all here at the equal, no CEO, no WO, no everybody. We all here at equilibrium. So we equal. Okay, gentlemen, good evening and welcome to this evening podcast. For every time we try to find a resolution, to remedy it, try to give an intellectual conversation to happenings with the hope of finding a common ground, boom, something happened, which is, it's not strange. It's a country that things are involved, a lot of things are happening. But let's start with this. A couple of days ago, there was a demolition process executed in Liberia. I watched that live. I shared with some of you people, and a lot of people saw it. I tried placing a phone call to get an idea to, and this is where that's the sickening part of this. Leaders shy away from their responsibilities. these people, they were either elected, they were appointed to provide explanation, good or bad. And that helps because it helps to stabilize situation to get a truth as what is happening. But courtesy of our sister network televisions in Liberia, the group called Cool FM, I captured their own saying and they shared this with the rest of the Liberian. It was something. Let me just put it up here, and we're going to have a conversation here about it. And as well, most of you saw it here. So let's roll a tape here and see, and we're going to have a little brief conversation. What went wrong?
The commissioner should be informed, but according to what I gathered so far, to the utmost surprise of the commissioner, he woke up with the news, and he had not been informed. He had not getting any prior notice about such incidents. But with right before the camera is the youth chair of this community, the one person who has also been making sure that the rights of these citizens are upheld. So, Chief, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
What's your name?
I'm Chief Emmanuel Sidon.
Emmanuel, you without shout.
Yes, I'm so sorry that appeared at this. You know, it was due to the arrogances of our Lagos National Police. And the reason for which I say this is that Lagos National Police came here along with some founded youth. They said they came to have an invitation. I came in asking them to provide some legal paper to that effect. Because if you want to do an invitation, you will come with a wait for the court. And that paper will back you legally. But I said, they said the key to act on the previous rate that they had in the month of May 26th.
You mean this year?
Yes.
May 26th. So when the previous rate was served to you people as residents of this place, what was the outcome? Did you go to the court? If so, what did the court say?
Yeah, they do. After the king on the 26th, the king they take the invitation, the police people taking out the police, left the thing out the police, went to the court. They went to the court, the people called the stay order. But surprisingly this morning, I received a call that the people is here again, along with some things I found the youth.
We also understand that when the notice was given, there was a conference for the 25th, the 21st, somewhere around. And we, in any other way, you guys attended the conference, and what was actually the outcome that.
Let me stop here. I know most of you has reviewed this, including our listeners. We're not going to play the entirety of the whole thing. What caught my attention was the security apparatus came here with this advantage you. My guess here, he's making to reference to the group they call Zocos. But he used a good word here. He was not too disrespectful to them. And that was something, gentlemen, that caught my attention, for which I tried to reach out to the Assistant Police Director for Public Affairs, who speaks for the Liberia National Police Director, Moses Carter. Unfortunately, up to the point in time of this broadcast that is live now, I did not get a definitive answer from him. And at the same time, it can be because that's what he, the guy interviewed, whatever he was saying. We didn't see them in action performing or whatever. That's what he's saying. So let's start a conversation. Let me go to Minnesota and see here. What can you tell us, Sissy, when it comes to like this eviction process? We don't know all of the details here, but based on what we're hearing now, if evictions or if GOL or anywhere a government is trying to relocate people, what should be what are the processes involved, you think, or what should be done to avoid this sort of situation?
So that was why I picked I swear attire, man, with the legal system in Liberia, was primarily because of this. Eviction processes everywhere in the world are legal processes. They are judicial processes. You go to court, both sides are heard, and a decision is made, which is enforced by the courts, the sheriff, and the appointed officers of the court. Officers of the court carry that out, or they carry police officers, but they are also sworn officers of the law. two things caught my attention in this piece. One, that somehow, some way now, we are using, if it is true, that the police authority are using disadvantaged Liberians who already have a lot of disabilities, mental disabilities, and all these things. So we are now using them as terrorists in their own country to terrorize other people. The second piece that caught my attention was that the fellows who spoke said that there is a Supreme Court stay in that there was a stay of order issued by the Supreme Court of Liberia, and that when the officers were on the scene, they provided to the Liberia National Police officers copies of the stay order of the Supreme Court.
Correct.
And according to one of them, if you watch because I watched this entire thing in detail, the police officers heard her and discussed among themselves for about 10 minutes this Supreme Court order that had been given to them. And
which I guess was a sort of red flag to them.
Right. But they returned to the residents and told them that their boss said they should stay, evict those people. So this is really troubling. If it is true that there is a stay order and the Liberia National Police still decides to ignore the stay order of the Supreme Court of Liberia to carry out an act that the Supreme Court has already placed a stay order on, that is very, very troubling for our democracy. That is very, very troubling for the rule of the rule of law in Liberia, if that is true. So those are my two biggest issues: the court placing a stay order that is being violated by the Liberia National Police, and the Liberia National Police, to the extent that this is true, using our brethren that are already disadvantaged that need to be rehabilitated, now turning them as arms against Liberians. Now they become the enforcers for the Liberian National Police, which is very troubling.
So before I go to Amos Joyce here, why in the first place, if and only, and this is why I wanted to validate this information with the authority, that is the police authority, and unfortunately they did not. So we're just going to argue based on the pieces of information that we have. If it is true that the disadvantaged group, youth or men, adults, whatever the group they are, why are we in the first place those people being used by the police? Does it make any sense for us to give credence to that?
It doesn't, and it should not make sense in any civilized conversation. It's the Liberian National Police trying to tell us that they are short-staffed to the extent that they have to go and find people that we know are already struggling with their own mental health, right? This in itself is abuse of power. You're using people who do not have a total control of themselves because of whatever reason. It can be drug addiction, it can be so many other things. And now you're using them to say, now you go and break down those homes. Even if, look, let's lay this out. Even if there was not a stay order of the Supreme Court, even if this was a legitimate exercise that didn't have a stay order, still using the disadvantaged Liberians for the demolition exercises is still wrong. It is morally very, very questionable that you do stuff like that. They don't have public works. They don't have other things they could do. There's not enough employees, civil servants of the courts and the sheriffs and police that could do that. That is just is despicable, Mr. So. When I watched that, I saw the sufferings of Liberians. But let me lay this out here. The issue of land ownership in Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf tried to tackle it. She got compromised. The issue of land ownership in Liberia has to be tackled by leaders that have spines. People who own their lands should have access to their lands, but they should be given access to their lands after they have gone through the court proceedings if it's contested. And so when you have a case in court that hasn't been adjudicated yet, and it's a stay order, for you to go and enforce and say we're coming back to enforce an order before the stay of the Supreme Court was issued, that is despicable. And I don't think any law enforcement official anywhere in the world should be doing stuff like that.
So this is where this sort of leadership training and all of that has to come into place, because if somebody like he is saying, even though it appears like even he agree, he saw this document and probably this document appears to be legit, but then at the same time he's protecting his job, my boss. So now the question becomes his boss and the Supreme Court, the higher court of the land. Where is he taking the instruction from? Too much of headache in our country there. That's why I say, yeah, put our country on Craigslist or eBay. You remember during the last election, the guy was carrying the sign Labrador for Syria.
I think what we need to do, we need to find those few people that are giving us the headache and give them a visa to a different country and give them permanent residence in different countries.
We shouldn't tell the country that they don't want to go in there because the country might most likely deny them visa. We want to welcome Madam Veg here is joining us from the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. She wants to Egushi listening. That's her here. She aiming for, she want to go on Capitol Hill. So since I've been dragging you and you can't come, let me just bring you on. Let me bring you on the front page.
Lpr for her to come on and have the discussion.
Yeah, no, they like those theater center, Roxy area where they go and create the necessary drama. No, she's not that type here. So Vic, good evening, welcome here. Our invitation is stay out here to let us get your agenda, what you have in store. There are good people in the country, but because of the bad in majority, like what a friend said, it's less costly to deal with stupid people. You don't have to pay anything down, but when you want to get a good people, they're going to cost you a lot. Amos George, let me just bring you in here. Let me appoint you as Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia here, just only for today's show. My goodness, what will happen? What do you think?
Mr. So don't even appoint me, because what we're going through is what my people and myself going through as I speak to you.
What? Where are people? Where?
In Bon County.
The Vice President whom? You're going through here too?
I say my home village. So many things we don't like to talk that we're working behind the scene. I got pictures. Somebody went and said, hey, I got 500 acres of land here.
This is...
Look, let me just call it in a nutshell, Mr. So this been, I think, about 7-8 years we'll be on this thing here. The entire district, the call meeting, when the security council, the superintendent, everybody came. The man brought his people. He said, no, this land you're talking about is in a different district, not here. The court went and ruled that the man should go and survey his land. You know what the court did?
Which are the court? That in Bon County?
Bon County.
Which soccer court is that?
It's the 8th, what judicial circuit court? I think so. What they did, it says that the land they told the man to go survey is in a different clime. And we are in a different clime. You know what happened last month, Mr. So? Those people went, they said the man who claimed that got connection with Musa Dean, he carried the ruling from the court to Musa Dean. The other people to send to that village who power saw. They were cutting the people rubber trees, orange trees, they took the people mail. I was on the phone trying to get in touch with the senator. Get the people waiting for me. They called me and said, what should we do? We wanted gun. I said, no.
They wanted what? They wanted a gun.
So,
that Florida stay your ground.
This thing was serious. You sitting down, they're cutting your rubber tree, they're cutting your orange trees. They took the people mail. Somebody call the Minister of Justice, the police director, and they said, no, the people should back off. Right now, in that case, we are the land commissioner. Can you imagine what would have happened that day? I have the document. I was sending the document to you, the pictures. I said I was on the phone live, talking to the people, the special assistant from the senator office, talking to him, pleading with them that, hey, if this thing continues, it will result in people death. And I told the people, the only thing I said, I told people, no, you can't do it because you don't have cameras. If anything happened, the police will lie. I know that. They will lie. So you hold on the weekend. I will send you the pictures. And this is the time at village. Just 2 months ago, we paid over $5,000 United States to break the road. Because the government said the road are going there is a private road to the village, so they don't touch that road. So we have to collect $5,000. We're paying $500 US a day to service that road. By the time we got servicing the road, the German king said he got 500 acres. The village, the village that I was born in, the man said that he built that place for them. But let me just, that is to tell you how tenuous this thing is in Liberia. I'll forward some of the pictures. I got all here, but we're just trying to work on. I told the people I don't want to go to the press. Let's try to work on with the land commissioner because they are getting involved. They sent people the other day to do some reconnaissance survey and thing. Just yesterday, the guy called me. He went to Banga, and now because the World Bank, they said they got some project they're putting together to surface all in lands, you know. So they're telling us we should start getting our those who allegedly claiming land should bring a certificate and the deeds, so they when the period time they will survey the place. But this we're talking about almost over 5,000 acres, and this is a tribal land. This gentleman told, I think they say he got money from someone that he got 500 acre land farmland to give to him. And this man came from America when they say he got connection with Muzadin. We said, look, I told them, we are not resisting the court order, but look at the court order. It's a different clan. So how can you lead a different clan and come to a different clan when your own court order is seeing a name of a different clan in a different district? So how can you come in the district and in this clan to claim the land?
The surveyor, he had on glasses. You think there was eye issue that he couldn't see, distinguish which is which?
So
why you didn't get your glasses to him?
No, yeah, why having this? So all these people think that when the people are sitting in that village, they got nobody outside, nobody to defend them. So when they go with this kind of order, that will come. They will end up, the people will be enslaved in their own land, in their own village.
You see what your man is saying here? Mackie is trying to muddy the water here. Pat George, the court say land are land. What, you see?
No, you know, Pat George, they want to create a road. The other claim where they make a land, you know, road there. They only claim a road.
Yeah. Imagine that. Look, but Mr. So these are serious problems. Now I listen to that tape. The guy is saying the land is a swamp, it's behind this woman property. And then he went on to say the accent. He said, the commissioner of this area is 100% in the know about this swamp. And normally that won't happen. The city government control all swampland, that government property. So people go to city government and say, hey, we want to develop this swamp. They say bring $100 or $200. They give them that swamp and the people go to develop the swamp. But what is happening is that so many people who got the connection will not buy that swamp. They will assume that, hey, send this swamp behind my house, that portion of my land. Whereby they had not bought that swamp from the city. The person that sold that land to you, they have no right to sell that swamp. Your land cannot extend into that swamp.
The illegal transaction in the country is so bad.
See, so that is the problem. Let me say something. In Fiaman, let me say something. Maybe you are much younger. The dump site. That dump site in Fiaman. That where they used to dump the dirt in the late 70s, 80s, before the party could have where they used to dump the dirt. Trouble was filling that place to make as a playground. The property back there, the government bought all the property, half of the property that swamp that they bought all. But right after the war, you know what happened? There ain't no Moses Harris.
Moses Harris.
The Soviet, not the former deputy, not the late deputy speaker. He got a brother.
Yeah, I know the Soviet, yeah.
Yes. Right after the war, Mr. So, that man sold that entire swamp because it had become like a land now. The Harris sold that entire swamp to people. But if you go to the account, the government will pay for that place. Yet today, someone has sold it and people have built concrete houses there. When you ask them, they say, oh, Moses Harris, we bought the land from Moses Harris. Which that land is a swamp land.
All right. So the land, everybody get the all of our good people that are watching here. Antonin, we say, Antonin, thank you for joining us from way South Australia. And this is why it is important when we are having these sort of conversations on this outlet. Liberians, not that they don't have work to do, not that they are bored, not that they are lonely, but whether they are even in and out, information is vital. And this is why we even plead with our colleagues on different, and when they're having this sort of conversation, for God's sake, there must be some sort of civility, because it will help, because all of us, directly or indirectly, all of these conversation things that we are talking about, they have a significant impact. When you were talking about land business, say I want cry, because I was in Liberia the other day. I know what I went through. You can, your own place, you will buy almost 1,055 times. The other one will kind of not this person, and it's just something. And it is a serious problem, very, very, very serious problem. Land issue in any country is not a joke. I don't know to what extent those that are in authority, they are really handling this stuff here. And that place they call land authority, that place is rotting like a rotten banana. I'm telling you, because I went there multiple times. The entire system is broken. Let's be honest. Not that they have bad, not that so bad people there, but it appears the bad ones are a majority than the good ones. And so the good one voice is very minimal. No space, no breathing room. And when you have this sort of parallel system of government, then forget it. They can't make it. You will not do it. You are not confronting one area. You know, it's not like, okay, the education system is bad, so we are dealing with the educational system to restructure, to get teachers training, to look at schools that are substandard, blah blah. It's not like that. The entire system is
across the board,
from the gatekeeper to the top. And there are factors, there are things responsible. And so it's one of the things when these politicians, those people who want state power, when they become selective of these things, look, the law in Ivory Coast, the land law in Ivory Coast, you're not crazy to go sell land multiple times to other people. You who did that, 10 to 15 years, no go-con, no gambling, no take the one you win, nobody going to intervene. You can't try that.
The surveyors.
And so, I mean, I don't know.
The surveyors.
Land authority, there are people who even supposed to say, but most of the quarters in the place now, like the Boys Town area there, that's another Bowaza area there. That place is crazy. You can buy your play over and over and over. And this group, they have their own, they claim to have their own survey. I don't know. Because I went to Ministry of Public Works to ask this here. And they said, no, but you know, the people can do it. I said, but when they put it, why? In fact, Ministry of Public Works need to satisfy people, because that's the government institution, or I'm responsible, because when you leave and go there to survey a place, the next thing you put your stuff in the archive, it becomes legit. But how can these people here, what is the guarantee? They grab anybody and bring them, say the person that surveyor, and then at the end of the day, you only come to realize that not even a satisfied survey.
Mr. So the thing has become so bad, and you know, I was trying to just restrict it to this thing that happened this morning. But the thing is rampant in Liberia, that now when you buy your own land, you have to put a structure on it when you're not ready yet. You got to put a semi-structure, pay people to live on your property to wash your land. We've had to do that lately, because we put 8 feet corner stool, 8 feet to a corner stool. And people came and bought inside.
Yeah.
Somebody came inside that building inside. How do you be blind to not see an 8-foot tall corner stool? So we had to end up spending over $7,000 to build a low structure, and then pay a family to live in that structure so they can watch over our land until we are ready to build on the land. That is cost prohibitive. You know how much money I got to, if I decide now I don't have the money this year to start or next year, that family stays in their house. I have to pay them monthly, provide for their food and their daily sustenance. right? Just to watch over my land until I'm ready to build on it. That adds to the cost of the house I'm going to build anyways, right? So it is so disheartening. But like I said, that Ellen tried to handle this by handling it by bringing out the land commission, but she herself got sidetracked and got compromised in the process. There has to be a national awakening of the ideas of land and land ownership. I've had people go as far as Lofa and try to change the way people own land in Lofa. The way our traditional people own land, they didn't have deeds, but we knew who owned the land. Now you got people going there and taking over people's land and say, oh, you don't have deed for the land. Well, duh, when the Lofa became part of Liberia, you saw the signboards, right, in the 60s. So are you telling me everybody who lived in Lofa were all squatters? You know, so there has to be a national reckoning, a national come together, a national conference. Otherwise, land is going to be one of our biggest issues that's going to continue to divide us in Liberia as Liberians.
Yeah, okay, it's a big thing. We will find time to reach to these people, but they don't like to show up. When you talk to them, they don't want to come, so we will do it. But let's narrow the conversation to this here. Based on what you listened to, what was lacking in this whole thing here?
It's also the police went to loot.
Oh, Lord.
The police went to loot.
What do you mean by that?
Mr. So, the policeman looked at a paper from the court. If that paper was not,
he can't read.
What?
So the police can't read.
So all the officers are there.
The American Police Academy, I didn't make it read.
Just making the guess game. Who knows? Or maybe the glasses were not serving him well.
Listen, if he could not read, then how can he the sheriff that were there could not read too?
I'm just kidding.
So here's the thing here. Secondly, all the officers that use those Zogos or disadvantaged group, all the officers should be charged. Those officers should be investigated and charged because you are charged with a responsibility to protect life and property. Using people who are not part of that institution, civilians, to destroy other people's property.
I'm really waiting to validate that information. If the dates, I find it very difficult why on planet Earth they would do that.
Mr.
Actually did.
I need to talk to anybody because all those people, the reporters out there saw all those logos, they were not lying. So because the police does not want to even come to clarify issues. So, but using people who are not authorized to do so, that is a crime in itself. You cannot take people when you never cannot use surveillance to carry any kind of enforcement. No. You the officer, you know that's your responsibility. If you cannot do it, go back to the court, go and get reinforcement. But you cannot instruct any surveillance to do anything to destroy, demolish anybody's property. That's why I'm saying the police, they should be charged. They should be investigated and charged. Now, the young man said something. He said, they asked the officers, where's the eviction order from the court? Mm-hmm. And that the sheriff, the eviction, the police, they are on an obligation to serve the people that notice that, hey, this is the order from the court. We are here to carry on this mandate of the court. This is it. Here is your copy. Who is signing for it? You give it to the community. But they said that they continue to ask and they did not get any document to show them that, hey, this is the order from the court to evict us. After the court has put a stay order. That is a blatant abuse of people's fundamental rights.
And additionally, to add here, and you can disrebuke me if I can going out of my own, running out ahead of my shadow. I think before, because I had a conversation when they were doing this role here with the late Minister of Public Works, the late Mambutu Nyimpan, before the sort of eviction that could potentially lead to demolition. They would call those people over and over. They would either talk to them, there would be some sort of settlement. And finally, there will be a letter served, if at all, if there were any defiance on your part, because our people, they are noted of doing that as well. So, and that's why we also want to get the side of the police. And Moses Carter is not willing to talk to people, or he's not willing to pick up his phone. Was there any, that's the guy, that's their own side they're providing. We're not going to empathize with it. That's not our job here to empathize with people, but to get the real facts and also get the other side of the story. But only if they don't want, if they are not willing to talk to us, then we'd have our conversation based on what we know so far. So I'm asking here, usually before like an eviction, even like here, they don't just get and throw you out of your house. They will talk to you. You will have a conversation. Everything will go well, or whatever. If there's nothing, there's no peaceful settlement, I believe that's when the court comes in. Correct, gentlemen? Is that the case? And then you will be forcibly thrown out of that place.
Well, that was the reason I said eviction is a judicial process. It is not an event. It's an entire process you go through. And you're right in highlighting the process. You go to court. Even if there's an eviction order issued by the court, they don't just tell you today we order, tomorrow you go evict. They allow for time, because you have to allow for time for people to move. Even, I mean, our eviction process in Liberia is copied after the eviction process here in the United States. You don't just evict somebody the same day. You go to court, and then you guess, okay, yeah, well, there's an eviction. You got this many days or these many hours to move out.
Right. That would be the court will provide those provisions.
The court will provide that, and then when the sheriff goes to enforce that stuff, the sheriff does not bring civilians to enforce that eviction order. Here is why I'm really concerned about that. An officer of the court, a sheriff, is on the scene, according to what we heard today. And that sheriff is supposed to be the person that carries out the mandate of the court.
Right.
If in the execution of that sheriff's duties as assigned by the court, that sheriff gets hurt, that liability is on the government of Liberia and the court. And because we, as government acting through the court system, send that sheriff to evict people. Who would have been here liable today had any of those disadvantaged youth been hurt or killed? Because you're going to break people's homes down, people's emotions start to run crazy. Right. What would have happened had there been a confrontation? And we're hearing that the police discharged tear gas.
Yes.
In the process. What is the use of force policy for the Liberian National Police? We got to see that. Because folks just can't be discharging.
Or was it proportional? Was there some sort of resistance?
Right. But there has to be a use of force policy.
Police were applying that force. All of that.
Right. But there has to be a use of force policy. Mm-hmm. And our people, I tried today, like you did, to try to get access to their use of force policy. Nobody could give me access to it. Nobody even know. I talked to 3 police officers in Liberia. None of them knew whether there even exists a use of force policy. And so here is my problem.
They get a uniform, I only know where you are.
But Mr. So, I got 2 problems, and I think they're 2 big different things. The first one is that you have police officers, sworn officers of the law. You have an officer of the court, the magistrate, along with the police officers, go on the scene to perform an eviction. And the citizens ask you for a copy of the eviction order. You don't have it. They counter you and give you their copy of a stay order from the Supreme Court, the highest court of the land. And then you go and you talk about it and come back and say, oh, we are enforcing the last court order, the one that got stayed by the Supreme Court. How logical is that? So that's on one hand, right? The issue of just disrespecting the orders of the court. On the other hand, is the issue of bringing of I think this is usury. I think this is abuse of power. I think this is, you can't take people and you just tell them, go into those houses and break those houses down. We the police, we tell you to do it. Go ahead and do it. So I'm looking at this from 2 hands. The misuse and abuse of our brothers and sisters who find themselves at disadvantage right now because of other substance abuse or mental illnesses, and we are using them to carry out violent acts. That doesn't help rehabilitate them. It just makes them. It just helps to expand or propound their disabilities. And those are the two biggest things I'm looking at. And I think those two things are really wrong. If the Liberia National Police did that today, that was horrible.
Let's dip into some of the comments coming from our onliners here. Mr. Joseph Benda is saying evictions enforcement isn't the functions of police, but rather the court officer.
It is. No, the court officers are the sheriffs.
Sheriff, yeah, okay, that's the sheriff. I believe that's what I guess he's referring to.
Yeah. Normally what
if the police is to come in, I believe then that it would be the court will call for the augment of maybe less number of sheriffs as a standby in case of something.
No, Mr. So yeah, what happened here? When the court gave an eviction order, the person who is that ruling in favor, they will go to the director of police or the minister of justice to ask them to give them officers to accompany the sheriff to serve that eviction order.
That's the person. Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
That is what happens, but that should not be the process. Again,
let's look at the process standard law.
Yeah, when the court gave the ruling that hey, Mr. So the property
Alfonso versus Amos George.
Yes, the court ruled that Mr. So the property from Mr. So. So Mr. So, this is your property. The people should leave the property. If I can ask the court or the person and say, hey, give us 30 days. 1 month will be leaving your premises. The court and the person can say yes. They can say time too long. That they can arrange it. But to serve that eviction order, the person, Mr. So, will have to write the police to say, hey, I got a property people are squatting and we have been given order by the court to evict these people. I need the law enforcement to go and
wait a minute. Then this is a sort of offside. I don't agree with that.
No, Mr. Josh. Mr. Josh is describing what happens, but not what's supposed to happen. What's supposed to happen is not supposed to be that. When the court issues any order, the order is supposed to be carried out by the sheriff.
You and the person no dealing again.
Right, we got no dealing.
Listen, maybe you're not understanding me. When
the court issues an order, the sheriff is supposed to carry out the mandate of the court. If the sheriff feels that for some reason they need backup, then they are supposed to contact the National Police. But if you're making it in the case where what if I'm a poor person, I don't have access to the National Police? So the court, the sheriff will not carry out the mandate of the court because I haven't gone to the police to ask for police protection?
Says it in Liberia. I'm telling you, even why did the marshal come to evict people? The marshal. Why didn't they come to evict you? Why the court officer don't come? Why the marshal come?
Okay, here's the point. If the court decides that is going to be a volatile situation, yes, I can see the court sending the marshal. But a private citizen, Mr. Josh, hold on. A private citizen should not have to go to get police to come. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, Mr. Josh. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying that's not the way it should happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
I'm telling you, in Liberia, every eviction, the police will have to be present there. Every eviction.
Yeah, okay. All right. Because
the reason here is there is a history of violence in evictions. So when the sheriff get that order, you that have the property. And I just give you an example of our case. The man went to the Minister of Justice. That, hey, I got people squatting on my land and I want to evict them. So I need the police to go there to evict the people. This is a ruling from the court.
If that the law, then
I think we're discussing two different things here. I think Mr. Joyce is discussing what happens, what usually happens. And what we're discussing is what ought to be happening based on the law. Those are two different things. Because, Mr. Joyce, yes, I agree that if you're going to have an eviction, you have police officers there because it might go wrong.
Yes.
But the person who requests the police officer should be the court, should be the sheriff.
Exactly.
Not me as an individual. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in Liberia.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? We're not going to make this a boom or contention. We'll try to find somebody. Because I can't, my George.
Liberia, where they told you that when the court gave the ruling to evict someone, the sheriff went to the police station. No way. No way.
If this is so, I think
it's always the person who owns that property will go to the minister of justice or the police, not the sheriff.
Mr. George, I'm not arguing. My point I'm saying is we're having two different conversations here. Because even for me, when I was in Liberia 2013, there was an armed robbery. I almost got killed in Liberia. They armed robbed me. I got busted in the head. When I went to the police station to run after my stuff, I had to provide my own vehicle. I had to fuel up my own vehicle. I had to feed the police officers that were on operations daily. I did that, but that's not how the process is supposed to be. That's not how it's laid out. But that's what I had to do. So I would not come on this stage and say every time that happens, that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, that's what happens in Liberia, but that is different from what the process that is laid out is supposed to be. I am not supposed to be, as a victim, paying police officers and giving them my vehicles, but I had to do that.
Okay.
So
in order to close on this,
but I don't think that should be the process.
To close on this chapter here and pivot to the next talking point here, we will try to find somebody but I think with my own limited idea, evictions is the last resort. It means every other thing we'll try to come to a peaceful settlement and it's just not working. And so when eviction is coming in, it's a high gravity of force. Force going to be applied because they told you to leave within the period of 1 month, 3 months, give you a time to get your thing packed up, and you didn't do it. You were still sitting down there, said nothing going to happen. You still keeping finger crossed. You still praying, and you got caught up with the date. And so when eviction is coming, there's no compromise in that time. The compromise will either come, maybe they say, okay, we'll get 1 minute, let's pack our children thing, and maybe it will be the discretions of those officers that are going to come. But I think that's the last resort. Okay, let us not just poke into this thing here. Let us make, knowing with the information that we know now, let's make recommendations maybe to those authorities in charge if they are to carry out invasion. And it's based on what we are hearing. If Sissy and I are in a confusion and I win among my mother's children, I love myself the best, I want to win the case. I won Pa George in the coffee, the cocoa plantation. I will win Sissy on the other side here. Now, to tell me, after you, the court, have decided a verdict has been handled, you have concluded the case, there should be a gap. There should be no any interaction with this guy and myself again, because any other thing that would just degenerate into some sort of physical or some sort of violent behavior. And for you to tell me to go get police to say, oh, they're coming to my thing, but so then the question becomes, who pays the police? Am I going to be the one to, if I need 10 police officers, I'm the one going to what? To cause their activity?
Yeah, so if you go to the police station and you carry your letter, you write the police director and say, hey.
Anyway, yeah.
I took my eviction order.
I swear, man, I tell you, like, plenty to you. Because when they were doing my land,
they will tell you.
Public Works. I have to gas their. In fact, they said they get one car. I end up using my car. The other men are having motorbike. They said they got one car. I said, but why would this bureau, such a vital bureau like that, you have only one? I was talking to the director, and they said, to be honest, I was very much impressed. The director, people were afraid to talk. Went to their office and saw some of the stuff. To go in heaven. Is that bureau or the zoning area at Public Works well organized, set up? They have something systematic plan, for businesses, residential, whatever place, any kind of thing, well organized. I'm not saying they say I saw it, but lack of. And before you get a permit to do bidding, depending where you want to do businesses, the call is there, the amount you're supposed to there is there, and you see people going in to pay. So why there is no logistic that people who are bringing greater portions of revenue to government, that's a different thing, is not happening. But what can we recommend? Knowing what we know from this sort of system now, with this sort of eviction process we're hearing, we yet to get word from the police to say, oh yeah, this event we were involved. That's their own argument. Based on what we are hearing from now, what can we recommend?
Well, my first recommendation would be that the police cannot sleep on putting out press release. This is not something that's hidden, right? There's been quite a few outlets sharing these videos. So for the police to stay behind the balls, having come up with a press statement to clarify or at least give their side of what's happening, I think is vexing. So my own advice would be you can't be behind the ball when it comes to giving out information, because when you don't give out information, then whatever information has been sent out there starts to cement. And once that information cements and crystallizes in the mind of people, it's very difficult to dislodge that. So it takes a lot more work trying to disabuse people's minds of the information they've had already, kind of uneducating them to kind of re-educate them on your side of the story. So I think the Liberia National Police, through its people, should have been out a long time ago with at minimum a press release, but at least a press briefing to explain what happened, so that we all can know what actually happened, and so we don't be on here, having a discussion based on what we're seeing from the other side. I'm not trying to say what the people said was not truthful. I got no reason to believe that they would not be truthful. But the Liberian National Police put the citizenry in a bad situation when you don't come out and speak to issues like these that affect people. The second piece is we have to get away from this whole, I got power and I can bring 10 police people. You play me right now. Liberia is one of the fewest countries on this earth that somebody can see you in the street and say, you insult me, I'm calling police to flog you right now. Sorry for the language, right? Nowhere else that happens. In America, I insult you, you can call police, they can beat it, man. And the police say, yo, man, I'll go handle that thing. That's a civil case. But Liberia is the only place where we can do that right now. Right. And that is sad. And so we have to find a way. I don't know how that's going to happen, but we got to get away from people using the police as their personal bully to go ahead and carry out mandates and orders that they feel should be carried out against other people who don't have money. I saw what happened today in that place as somebody who got money and got access to power, utilizing that power and access to money at the detriment of people who are just trying to find somewhere to lay their heads. And this is just where classism was showing so clearly today. One person got access to the ruling class and the ruling elite, and a group of people got no access, and they just became homeless today because somebody decided to utilize the access they got.
Okay.
And thank God they're not Congo people, they're their own people. But here's the thing here, Mr. So. Oh yes. And they call a woman, they say Jala. They're not Congo people.
Yeah, Kuku Jala.
Yeah. But let me say this here. We cannot give or we still need education. Because we should know that, look, if you're an officer, if you see a legitimate paper from the court, or if you are not certified, call whosoever sent you. This is what I see. What is your advice? Because you cannot violate the court order. And if your boss insists, you can say, hey, based on what I see here, I will not be able to carry this order because there's a legitimate paper from the court. But first, the first thing may afraid that he's going to lose his job. So if he tell his boss man, they will say, hey, suspend that or you dismiss because you failed to carry the order. But people must be brave to stand for the truth. Because you're going to take someone from the property. I mean, whether it's the property or whatever, but they have been living there for some years. And you have to show them legitimate people. Like the person was saying, where is the order from the court? This guy saying, now look, it will see the order, will not put on no resistance. But he said that we can't be here, you come, and no order, and we'll ask you cannot present anything. Those are all part of the educational process. If the sheriff comes, sheriff, yes, where's the order from the court to evict us? The sheriff must present that document to the people. The police are there only to stand by to say, hey, take your thing outside, or we put your thing outside, or for the people property. That is the job. The job is not to go and start beating people. You are not, the police officer is not supposed to carry any other civilian there to help them to enforce what they are supposed to be doing. They are paid for that. They are trained how to handle those things. Those are all part of the educational process that we need to do. The second part is people, as Cecil stated, people with connection who got a lot of money, use that money as a means to victimize the poor who have no means of seeking redress. They use the money and connection to victimize them. And these are some of the dangerous things that is happening in the country. How do we correct these things? Where the issue of good governance come in, good leadership come in, that people will hold people accountable, people will be educated.
I don't see none. Is there anyone that we can bank on?
I don't want to go that far. I'm just saying.
Why you don't want to go that far? You brought it out.
I don't want to go that side. I don't want to politicize this here. What I'm seeing is the structure that's supposed to be in place. Let me say this. I want to tell you, there are good laws in Liberia. What happens is the enforcement and implementation of those laws. That is the problem that we are facing today in Liberia. The laws on the board, if you see them, you read them, and you ask yourself, well, why this person is doing this here? So, but until we come to the point that we have government, that people will be in authority will not say, hey, oh, the guy must have went to school, so just do it for him. No. We have to say, hey, this is wrong. You can't do it. And if you do it, you're going to be accountable. So those are the things we need to start. But the police, I always say the police must be very careful. Because in order for police to be effective doing any job, you need a citizenry. You need the citizens. And if the citizen turn against you, it's very difficult for you to succeed. Any institution for that matter. And the police should be forthcoming. When these things come up, it's just simple. Your officer went there, come and tell the public, yeah, these are the documents that based on that we send the officer. These were the things that led to the resistance, or this is what happened. Simple like that. What is it? But when you 18, 24 hours, 48 hours gone, no word from you, then you want to blame us that, hey, you're saying that you got no evidence, but we're contacting you, you cannot talk to us. What happened? So we fell in that void.
I know.
We are doing it tonight.
You know, something when you talk about, something make me laugh. Recently, before we take a break, coming from Ghana's Way, from my place, Gato 72nd, in the morning is a rush hour. And here, security apparatus, I mean, they are first-class people here. Even when you're getting on a flight, you will hear them, active men, women, they blah, blah, blah. They give them preference. And I observe most of the time, the people in uniform, they don't, you know, even when the vehicle is empty, people don't stop. And I see some government vehicle. So I stopped, I saw this guy. We make friends. We had a conversation, and there was a reason for that. He's a police guy. The other guy I gave ride to was DEA. And so this police officer got there, you know, introduced himself. He said, I think from here. I said, what do you mean by that? I live here, my man. Don't even go there. You know, you got to get an inner fight of people. He said, no, because people don't usually do that. I said, really? But I'm doing it, so you can't just throw down on everybody. And then we'll start moving later on there asking. I said, officer, what is this police and community relationship? He said, my man, that thing there, gentlemen, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
From the West African nation of Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia Public Radio and Television present Business Diary. This program focuses on the activities of business institutions and individuals in society.
I'm Jeremiah Zawu Senior, CEO of All Nation Bank. It has been very good to have this business established here. We are 1 year since we opened here in Anono. There have been few challenges here that have faced in this country, and that is all about the language. But here instead, I refuse to be deterred. I refuse to be discouraged. I open a business and things have been fine.
My name is Mercy Bangaringanga. I am a finance finance officer working for an international organization. I have a master's degree in business administration. So today I'd like to take the opportunity to talk to you about the COVID pandemic and how it has affected the business sector in terms of me working in an organization, an international organization.
Don't miss out. Be my guest. It's coming soon on Liberia Public Radio and Television.
Okay, that's our man. Ben Chamberlain is Liberia Public Radio Abidjan Bureau Chief here. Folks, we want to thank you so much. Let's recognize our man here. All of you, so we have give recognition to everybody. Our man Archie M. Scars. I'm watching from my home on Johnson Street, Stony Wayne Community. Oh, Mr. Johnson, thank you so much. I believe it is a love of your country. That data, what they call data, you could be using it for something. And so when we're here, we'll try to explain, to be honest. You may not agree with our talking point. That's okay, but we'll try to be honest as we talk about our country. Thank you so much. Honestly, that's what he said, my man, the police and community relationship will not work. I said, but have you guys tried? He said, oh, my brother, you don't waste your time. So you see there is a disconnect. There is a huge disconnect because people, they even give away ahead of time before they can even start the implementation aspect of it. And that's part of what we saw. The implementers, even though from all indication, by then having that sort of quick meeting, it was to, wait a minute, what we are doing here is it right? Something signal. There's always a positive, there's always a signal within every human mind. If you want to do something, there's some sort of indecisive thing. One will say do it, another one will say don't do it. You just have to focus and listen and see and grab that signal. That sort of instinct gratification will come in to say, something will, the two decision making will come in. Something will say do it. The other one will say no, don't do it. I think that was the situation there. Okay, let's pivot here to this guy here. This is the much talk about the Lpr-Tv scenario, the oil, the fuel, or whatever it is.
That method, that Papa Josh, when they attire you on,
yeah. I say he's been suspended, but I haven't seen any official stuff, so I'm not going to dwell on any sort of conspiracy or people want to stop here. But let's do this here, and we'll talk about justice system here. Let's see what we can. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see what they got. The guy want to play? What that? Oh no! Wait. Okay, it was been playing here. Okay. Okay, this video has been floating. What is caught my attention? The other one I wasn't able to get it, but I listened where he did. Zoli is a deputy is a chief of security or deputy?
There is a confusion. He said he's chief, but in the letter that circulated, said he's deputy.
He's deputy, yeah.
I think he's deputy. But in one of those videos, I saw one of the sister network that was playing, and he was sweating a Christmas goat leg. He's wiping his face and all of that. And he brought the president. This is so ridiculous. People just do not know their functions, or they talk loose and careless talk.
Is that loose talk? Is that loose talk?
I would say it's loose. What he's saying is ignorant. No, I'm saying because he doesn't know what he's saying. I'm speaking from in the context of when you're communicating or when he's being accused of something, and he's not seizing in his thought.
But Mr. So, I think the both of you and Mr. George looking at this differently. Mr. George is asking your question that is he actually ignorant based on the Liberian context, and you are judging it based on a logical context. Because there is Liberia, and then there is everything else. Because in the Liberian context, that mentally was making a lot of sense, and that's what Mr. George is asking you the question.
This is where, Sissy, this is where people get in trouble. That sort of Liberian context or Liberian way of doing things, there is a universal standard when you're getting things done, first of all. And then I was listening to him, he said, oh, they're accusing me of saying the same way, the same thing they're accusing the president, that the president can steal and the president has
he had to die. The president, he had to die. Two of them had to die. So corruption can't kill it. He accused them all day, they had to die.
So wait a minute. What the heck is he talking about here? I want to understand what he's saying.
So
not the president being saying, president doing, the other people being saying they've been doing that. I don't have any evidence, even though I am concerned with some of the things that is happening, how he got this and all of that, but I don't have any evidence. With you in this case, this time around, there's a video that surfaced that you are involved, you know, allegedly. I'm not going to run a judgment on you, but for you to go and bring the president's name into it, and instead of you taking time to address this as, or maybe the institution to speak, and people laws being before microphone, he jumps inside. Now, with this here, is this enough that we can say this young man is involved in this thing here? Can we come to that conclusion in the absence of court proceeding?
No.
Because a lot of people say he should be fired, he should be in jail, this should happen, that should happen, he's already the role, he stole, he this, he that. Can we?
First, Mr. Soul, I got something. I had not been able to lay my hand on the handbook of Lpr-Tv.
Right.
From what I heard from people, they say in that handbook, they say even if a cup of gasoline, you are caught, that warrant automatically termination.
Okay.
But here's the thing here. And this, I have seen no video. It's all alleging. But what I started to think, this young man, even supposed to appear in that kind of video, this man served in the United States Army. How he was discharged, they say he was discharged, I don't know, but he served in the army. He went back to Liberia to be deputy minister for operation. And because his own talking, he was denied, he was rejected by the Liberian Senate. The president took him and sent to the Lpr-Tv. I thought this man, with that background, having served one of the most prestigious army in the world, I thought this young man that displays high degree of sincerity, respect, integrity for that, to show the people that look, I'm a Liberian, but where I come from, what I have learned, what I have seen, this is how it's supposed to be done. Nobody should be even taking a gallon of gas from here. But instead of that, the man had joined the cartel. The sneaking at Lpr, he had joined to start stealing from there. They're just stealing from there. That in itself, the face of it,
Warren.
I got no more respect for the kind of people. Because, look, suppose this guy would have gotten that job at a different ministry for operation. It means that this guy could sell the entire country. Seriously, for operation.
What, he would sell the army? He would sell the army?
He would sell everything, not the army, country. Because this is a man that's supposed to look at information and say, yeah, this is credible threat. He could be compromised from what I see from the tape here. And now then he got audacity. Oh, that is something they say about the president. Look at his body language alone.
So the president have a confident in me. He's sending me.
Yes, and this is why I ask you. Because if this man did not do anything wrong, or he did not commit anything, why would they immediately suspend for 2 months? And what the suspension is about? Did you see the press release of the suspension?
Well, honestly, I've not read it, so I don't want to.
I don't know. So, and he got the audacity, the nerve.
Why? It's not on the official website of the executive mansion, though.
Well, because that is an autonomous agency, they're letting it handle it.
Yeah. So okay. It's not a problem. Yeah, that's.
But to tell you, these kind of people, first thing, the office of the president, I expect him to come with some press release. This guy, he own video too, that he's appointed by the president.
Okay, let me hold you right there. I'm going to be going into sister there, a tournament agency. One thing I know, and my man Dave Jackley, he's back here. He's doing well. Remember, he was suspended by the president DEA, and that was that. So far, that's the end of it. So I don't know, it's an indefinite or whatever. He just say, I suspended. Sister, is that the end of Zolizo?
So before I answer that question, let me reset our minds. The idea I see these arguments on the internet, and Pat George even alluded to that because somebody served in the United States military, that somehow they are above reproach is a problem, because the military, because they recognize that there are humans they are dealing with. That's why they got a UCMC here, Uniform Court of Military Justice, because they know that there are American soldiers and Marines serving time for stealing in Iraq, for murder, for rape, for everything. So for us to say some guy who was not a commissioned officer in the U.S. military went down. I've had a bunch of my students that are serving the U.S. Marines. I just came from high school and went straight to the U.S. Marines. And I would not be taking one of them to make them deputy defense minister simply because they serve the U.S. Marine, right? So I think we somehow misunderstand and put this thing way on too much of a pedestal, that Zolizo, having served the U.S. Army in whatever capacity, we don't know, somehow had an integrity surplus that we got to give him, right? Having said that, if there were no videos, I would say we wait for the process to take place. I wouldn't even be having a discussion about it. I said people have the discussion, but here we are elevating a chief of security for a Lpr petroleum refining company to have a presidential level discussion. It's not a presidential level appointee. But I will tell you this, Mr. So. Here is my big problem, my big problems I got with Zolizo, based on the tips that were released and based on his own, I don't know if I want to call that podcast that he did, where he just because I'm going to use his own words, right?
Yeah.
The problem I got with the tip that got released is not that I'm calling him a thief. I would not do that because I don't have enough information to do that. And I think it would be disrespectful to Zolizo for me to call him a thief. But what I would say is, after he said that he is in charge of the physical security, because he kept saying that, he says he's in charge of the physical security of the LPRC. For he to have been on the scene where gasoline, flammable materials were transported in such a careless way. There were recent issues in Liberia not too long ago during the St. George time where there were massive fires in Monrovia. So this guy, according to his own narrative, arrested, he confiscated these things.
Right.
But look at how he's transporting them. He's putting the entire refinery at risk of fire, the entire Bourgeois Island. So because of that, for me, just because of that material handling, as a chief of security, where you say in his own stuff that he is responsible for the physical security of the plant. That puts the plant at a risk. Minimally, he should be fired for that. The second piece I look at after all of his other ramblings, he kept showing this proof, this gas pump that people have been using since 2016, according to him. And he arrested the guys, he snuck up on them in his military style, and he confiscated it. When did Zolizo's home become the storage for evidence? Why does he have it at his house?
What was his struggle? Let me hold you there a little bit here. I know there's something you drive into. What was his struggle? What was he, or what is he struggling with? Why he's trying to remake?
So you know how when everybody thinks because they've been on Facebook before they yell one or two times and cause other people, so all of a sudden they understand media and communication because he said it. He's gonna go back, bring his Facebook back. He's gonna be on media, and he understands the media. I don't think he listened to advice, and I really want to believe that Zolizo got some really good friends that would have told him, but I probably told him not to do that. That was ill-advised. That was ill-advised, especially so when he kept saying that he has a lawyer. And then he said his lawyer told him to come out and have that podcast. I said, wow, you need to fire that lawyer. We need to check his, maybe even try to disbar that lawyer, because that would be a bad advice. Because all he should have done was how to be quiet. And if you think your name is being impugned wrongly, you allow your lawyer to do the speaking, or you hire other people, or you sit down and be composed. But when you look at Zolizo, the entire podcast, I watched the entire thing. I was annoyed. I hated him. I was annoyed for him. I was annoyed by him. I didn't know what kind of feelings to have at the end. But I will tell you, you ask your question, I'm going to go to the crux of that question. Because of those two reasons, I think Zolizo, at minimum, should be dismissed. And if anything, he should be investigated further. My biggest concern is the way he handled the gasoline that he quote-unquote confiscated. And why does he have an evidence in a crime that he arrested at his home? Why is it that he said he turned over people that were arrested to Freeport police, but he didn't turn over the material they've been using since 2016 to steal fuel oil? Why has he been keeping it? Does he have an intent to use it? Is it memorabilia for him? Who taught him it's okay to hold of a crime?
Is he the right custodian?
Is he the first custodian? Is your home where you're supposed to keep that?
So what?
I got many questions that got nothing to do with whether he actually stole the fuel, but I got to do with the way he handled the fuel he confiscated, and why is he keeping property confiscated in the commission of a crime at his house?
It was deliberate when I was pushing that question, and not just Zolizo. Most of our people, politicians, national leaders, they are reactionaries. Okay, people talking something here now, so I have to come right away. If I talk, the people say I'm guilty. So they become reactionaries instead of them to contain their. And that's why you see this country here, you know, I know, Pat George know, and most of the viewer. Why you think they post stupid? They're not stupid. Why you think these people have spokespersons? Why you think even if they say this person do so, they are either their lawyers or some kind of person? That's the communication aspect of the whole thing here, because they are setting words, your language, because if you say some crazy thing, now it's like a self-indictment on himself, things that he talks. Anybody can kind of build a case right against him now. You're telling her you get a lawyer. So where are you getting your counsel from? And you're quite correct. This is for a lawyer. I don't think that's a lawyer. I don't think that's a lawyer. Maybe that a lawyer, the lawyer won't get on an oil to say, you know what, anything you want to do, just go ahead, do it. Yeah, maybe I can get about 1,000 gallons of stuff. I don't know why. I don't know. It's always like this. It's always like this. Politicians themselves, when something happens, quick reaction. They rush the media, and they are unprepared to do that.
Mr. So, I think there were. I watched his podcast. There were a lot of people under his podcast that kept telling him, cut this thing out. Stop. He was in gear. He had put his brain in drive, and he was not going to stop. That vehicle was going to go to where the destination was, and unfortunately, the destination was. He created more doubt about himself in that video.
That's ego. Try to show strength.
Right. Then the other, because the two videos, I actually watched the two videos. And I'm like, yo, okay, I see Zoli. He's standing. One of them, the one you show, he's standing. And they put the stuff in his car. The other one, I can see Zoli in it. You know, the guy's talking, oh, you're going to lose your jobs today. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to get Zoli. So
why was he even saying that?
No, because the guy who was filming it was saying people were stealing fuel and they're going to lose their job. So you were, because you're recording them stealing. But here was my problem. Those two videos together, actually, I withheld every comment on Zolizo. I said, well, you know what? I don't know what's happening over there. But then when he came out in his podcast and said those were gasoline they were putting in the bags. And he said that because somebody, here is his logic. If you move the product outside of LPRC compound, he will arrest you. But if you don't move the product outside of the compound, he confiscates the product, but don't arrest you. Why are you confiscating something? You assume if there is a crime being committed that gives you the right to confiscate, why don't you arrest? Why would you confiscate without arresting? So he created a lot more doubt in my mind about him with his own video than those two videos. Like with those two videos, I would have said, I plead the fifth. I can't say anything much. I got to wait to see more. But Zolizo himself indicted himself in his podcast.
Sister, let me tell you something. Zolizo is lying. His body language says...
How you know he's lying? Joy.
Listen, I'm not a psychologist, but from Zolizo...
No, I didn't say you. I didn't say you won. I said...
And sister will bear with me. Look up Zolizo, the way he was talking. The man is sweating. You can see it from the video. The man, and that's how people who lie behave. Now, sister said something. And I want to lie him that the product could not leave the premises of the compound if it do leave. But that is an FOC. Why you want to put it in the car when that car starts? What happens if there is a connection with that gas starting that car? What happened to that compound?
Static electric. People moving around. You rub your hair on the carpet in the back of the car. Static electricity. Pop. It lights up.
Yes. So you can see that this guy is not trained to even be there, because he would have called the police right there. Gentlemen, this is a hazardous product. This product, we cannot play with it. Everybody come on this side and stand here. He's the chief of security or whatever. He could call for reinforcement all the time he's doing. To bring in more manpower to say, hey, the product cannot be removed from here until the rifle program to handle it, because it's very explosive. But he didn't do it. He stand there, to put it in the car. What is wrong with you, Zolizo? Then you want to tell people, hey, I dream my job. Then moreover, to put an icing on the cake, you take the pump and carry it to your house. What do you have your office at Lpr-Tv for? Your office. They don't have no room for God.
No, but Mr. Josh, hold on 1 second. Because he said that he confiscated a vehicle.
Yeah.
He turned the vehicle over to Freeport police.
Yeah.
So why he didn't turn this pump over to Freeport police?
You are keeping them to go open a gas station.
So, gentlemen, what is lacking here? Because it's an autonomous agency, but I get huge subsidy from government. Of course, government, more or less, you can say, also coordinating. Oh, I'm developing trouble here. Let me fix here quick. What is lacking? Yes.
I think because Zolizo is not a presidential appointee. So that's why you don't see that on the e-mansion website, I think. I think if you were a presidential appointee, like a director or one of those, I think it would have been on the e-mansion website. So I think they're handling this as a human resource issue where somebody who is not a presidential appointee has fallen short of the handbooks and they're handling it that way. And I think that's the reason it's not on the eMarshal website. I would have been surprised to see that on the eMarshal website, to be very frank. If that had been put on the eMarshal website, I would have had issues with it, because Zolizo is not a presidential appointee, so his suspension should not be elevated to that level of the executive mansion website.
The suspension aspect. What is the indication?
So go ahead, Mr.
What is it, Josh?
You see the corporations, the chief of security, I think the president recommend them. They talk to the president to appoint, especially Lpr-Tv, because I remember Lanco. Let me be very precise. Lanco, when Charjo was appointed chief of security, the president of Liberia was informed. Lpr-Tv, the late Salif, and the guy that killed during the Kwamba incident, he was chief of security, and Lpr-Tv one Salif. The president was informed that he was going to be appointed chief of security of that corporation. So those things, the president, they don't send letter directly, but they inform the president who is going to be the chief, and I think deputy chief of that area. The other people, they can recruit them, But those.
Let me put it more here.
But yeah, I agree with Mr. Josh. He's still not a presidential appointee, so I would be surprised if his suspension goes.
So he going there. So did not get that job that he went there applied directly. They were calling from somewhere. But Mr. So, who sent for Zolizo to go to Liberia to be deputy defense?
Mr. Josh, that's the point. There is, you're right. There might have been calls from somewhere. I mean, we can follow the logic. He didn't get the deputy minister position, so that was a consolation position like I gave it to him. But that still does not negate the fact that he's not a presidential appointee. Therefore, his suspension issue should not be raised at the executive mansion level.
You heard a man ask, I didn't want to be. He said that the president, he called the president name.
The man said, I'm going for the president and said I talk. But
you see that again?
But you can't. So here's the thing. That's Zolizo's naivety, and we cannot associate that with the office of the president. If somebody saying, "Oh, Umogosa even the president," that people say, "I stole free," or "I stole free," that president can judge the case. Yeah, I don't hold the executive mansion responsible for somebody's naivety. But here's a bigger issue. Let me put one more king in so you can talk. Let me throw one more worm in this king here so you can talk more. Zolizo, having not been satisfied with his own train wreck of his podcast, decided yesterday. I'm sitting yesterday. I see a pop Zolizo update. I go check Zolizo update. Spoon TV CEO called me to apologize. Okay, so I said, hold up.
I think there was an issue. He blocked me, so I can't see really.
So here are two things. So I'm thinking in my mind, okay, Stanton Witherspoon apologizes. So what? Does that change your current legal issue that you're going through right now with being accused of theft? Or is it because Stanton called you a thief on his platform, he's apologizing for that, and you're trying to associate that to me now that you are not guilty? Then the second piece of that, I went and said, well, why would Zolizo think that Stanton Peabody's apology got anything to do with what's happening with him? Then in less than, if I honor his entire post, people started coming out and posting a press release from Spoon that said, no, the man didn't apologize. Then Spoon TV came on and his own sedition, Kev, said, no, I had a three-way call. They didn't apologize to Zoli. And so I started to think, I said, well, then why was Zoli running with this? People already accusing you of being a liar. People are accusing you of being a thief. Why would you run with something that is that people can check and debunk? It's not like Stanton was dead already, right? And you had two other people on the call. So it's not like you say, I say. You had Kev on the call. And so why would you go and lie about stuff like that? And I started to think, if you can lie about things like that, then, oh man, we got to start looking at all of the other things people are saying about you. So again, like I said, Zolizo has been his own problem, from the podcast that he did and to that posting he did yesterday about Stanton apologizing to him. I said that meant anything in the legal process, for me, just blew my mind off. So, Mr. George, go ahead.
Zolizo is stupid. Zolizo is stupid. Why I say so?
You too stupid, yeah?
No, I come on, man. You're probably highly intelligent. I said Zolizo. So you know what I'm saying? The platform that Stanton Watson has, can Zolizo fight that institution? Can he fight that institution? And if he will fight, can he win the battle?
Why? Why do you think he can?
So there's nobody will go against the press to win.
Okay, that's the answer I wanted.
And that's my point. So when he came out to say, oh, he wanted to tell the people that, as you were saying, Stanton was saying, call him and apologize. That means he didn't do what he did. In other words, but then he was
trying to erase something by referencing.
Mr. Josh, let me bring it back though, because remember earlier you and Mr. So were talking and I said there's a Liberian way and then there's every other way. The Liberian way is as Zolizo was thinking when he made that comment. Because you saw what happened. There were seditions. Some people that I actually respect, I started they were posting on their post on Facebook that they will see that they are soldiers and Zolizo will be found out guilty. They already started apologizing, the wicked opposition. And I'm like, yo, man, what? And then here's the funny thing. They start to pivot the conversation about, well, people trying to blackmail Zolizo. And then I said, okay, fine. Let's assume somebody trying to blackmail you. And I like there was one sedition lady I really like. She always posts a lot of stuff. She said, well, what are they blackmailing you with? Is it a false information or a truthful information? Because if they are blackmailing you with a truthful information, we don't care if they are blackmailing you. We care about the information they're providing. If it is truthful, there has to be action taken on it. But to your point, Zolizo came up with that thing because he felt like there would be seditions that will go out and say, yes, General Dragon, the CEO lie on you. So the entire opposition lying on you because they want your position, because the entire opposition want to be chief security at Lpr-Tv. Right? So
okay, let's go to our first caller here and get his reaction. Hey, so Mikey, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Mr. So and the panelists. How you guys doing?
Good. Let's hear from you quickly. What's going to be?
Yeah, quickly to the issue. Number one is about the police, the case you flagged today on your show. And just what Zizi was saying, it's a judicial matter, but the way our people handle cases in Liberia, especially the police, I don't know. And sadly, you call the police spokesperson to give clarity, they don't pick up the call. I don't know who they're working for. I just don't understand who they're working for.
We just gotta be doing our work, yeah. We're not get tired. My finger can't bend.
Yeah, so you said something about I swear, man,
Yeah. Oh, you want to bring your own swear? What you want to swear on?
Yeah. For me, I swear, man, I tired hearing people say the president should do reshuffle. I swear, I tired with that story.
Oh my God!
I don't want to hear.
This guy started in trouble here this evening. Oh my goodness!
and then before I go on the issue about the police again, our people every day we say the people suffering, the government treating them bad. But honestly speaking, a Liberian man will take a friend Liberian man to police station, and he know very well he want the system to work, because in that particular situation in his favor, he will go and manipulate the system, bribe the police just to go and torture his brother. Like Sisi was saying, it was just somebody just insult them from the street. Oh, my man, move for him, and you did. He get mad because he find himself in the position where he can hire police officer. He will treat his brother bad. And these are all things that make the system to not work. It don't make the system work. Not because you find yourself privileged, you should subject somebody to immune treatment. And until we can start looking at those simple matters, the society will not go forward. So we have to get rid of that. And then on the issue of Zolizo, why Zolizo pop here? I must say I started finding hard to believe the story that was going about him. The way he kind of narrated the story. But then later on, I watched him, and then Stephen said that Zolizo said, I apologize for him. Then Kev of all people that don't regularly say the kind of thing, he came out, he buttressed Stephen and said, no, what Zolizo said is a lie. You never apologize to him. So he just killed the whole entire story about, he innocent.
So he's caught in crossfire.
Yeah, he killed the whole. I said, I was supporting the brother. I said, no, let's get the guy time and ready. And in fact, I was not even looking at the angle for which CC came from, where the chief security officer will be told him, get us in that kind of area, and where anybody can use matches and stuff. That whole place can go on fire and the whole city will be in danger. I was not looking at that angle until the CC brought it up. I think he having serious problem. And like Yeke said, nothing will come from out of it. they will just look at it and downplay, and Labrampo will still go and vote for them again anyway. So that's the situation. I swear, I will eat too. and Mr. So please, where is Pato?
Why you kept asking this? Yeah, asking.
No, if they make go on vacation, let he tell us. Let he come on and say, let me just add it.
Let me tell you now. I want to sound ridiculous here. I told you before, and y'all don't want to believe me. Every weekend, this guy, he's killing goat. He having nice and beautiful. And when you will see him, he will come with some cow tail here. Yeah, he may enjoy himself.
Let me forget about all because they live on the party.
And you know, and you know the man he's one of the divisive guy on this network. Mind you, he watches us every night. You know, okay, Mr. So you not bring another Tiawan Gonglo professor. I come in for him. He think we in Minnesota with drinking drink. That the talking point now. He building small. He coming with every time.
So they messing me holding real cup. Have you ever with drinking?
With drinking drink. You say that the need he get for you now. You can't bring your Minnesota man. I come in. You think that drinking drink. One can bring your Lpr-Tv. I come in for him. Samson is crazy. I'm telling you. But Mr. Tor will be back with us here. He heavily engaged in some projects these few days. Hopefully by next week, he will be here with us. Thank you so much.
It just shows that Mr. Tor is loved by the FPR family, the fan, and world wisher. That's all. Because we are concerned, especially the kind of time we're living in now. Every time people step outside, we gotta be concerned.
You're gonna cost me. I'm gonna have a sleepless night because this guy. By the time I get off this program, he will start calling, and I told you that all night. That's what he's going to do.
Mr. Just in case you watch the program, this is Nan Kemu from Cedar Rapids. I just want to say hi to you. My papa will miss you. I don't know the Liberty Party got something for you or not, but please come back. We'll miss you so much.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me tonight?
No, I just want to keep the pot boiling.
Now you're gonna that guy. He's gonna kill more. He's gonna slaughter more goat before he comes next week. All right, my man. Thank you so much.
You welcome.
Yeah. So I don't know. Attire.
What play you're going before you attire? The thing is tie you attire.
Seriously, I don't know whether you have seen that video that allegedly circulating on internet, but this magistrate in Sando ordering the flogging of this police commander.
I saw it. When I saw it, you know what I did? I spoke my one parent, my wife was laughing. She doesn't understand parent. I said, many are some comment. You know, when parent tell you the thing finished. If Akbar, but I only leave the money behind that means if it completely yes. Many Akbar allow some comment. They just level the money behind. So I by Western Lab, said, why you always do this? I said, well, because that reminded me of when I was in Phoebe going to school. I had a parent used to say, when you stay owing and something, you think you say the film forget about it, they forget about it.
All right. The few minutes here, I talked to a few people, and some of those folks. Let's come back to politics and wrapping up the week and to some of the news that make headline. Maybe that my own as well, man. I talked to somebody who is familiar with government, who works in government, communication experts, work on a lot of speeches with politicians and all of that. This is on a free counsel to Ambassador Boyka. And I just want us to have push it around here before we sign off. Today is Friday. Everybody got to chill and do stuff, man. What he's saying, if he was providing counsel to this whole Lofa saga or whatever scenario, he would tell us for his good political future, he would tell Boyka to back off out of it because it's in his backyard and let the party, the unity party itself, the party chairman or whoever, let him just do it. He needs to get himself out of the picture. That should be the role of the party chairman, party executive, spokesperson, not he necessarily as a standard bearer. Because what happens is it's like a piece of cloth caught between the scissors. Because putting himself there, there's an other component of it, because if it is blown off, it means Lothians and other people will see him as a divider in chief. And that could put a political dent on his career with all the other things that he did, see what, and you know, people, you can do all of your good. I'm telling you, one little small thing when you screw up, is what go in the archive. People going to remember. I said, seriously, he said, I'm telling you, if Joseph Boyka, Ambassador Boyka, wants to survive, he want to, or there are two. In fact, there are two things. He said right now, it doesn't look good for him. Right now, if he wants to be a deal breaker, either to raise a hand of some sort of young generation, it stabilizes everything. He can either do that or let him back off of the whole thing here and let the party handle it. And I was like scratching my head. And he said so many reasons. So I said, okay, I have somebody who is more or less familiar with the politics of Lofa. Lofa is a sort of traditional conversation, culture, and everything. They are all interrelated. There's some sort of uniqueness about Lofa. And that person could probably give me an idea. So let's be our talking point here. Sissy, hearing these narrative or these opinions and views expressed by this associate, should Boyka get himself out of the picture of this whole thing here and as the guy is saying, let the party take charge of it. Like he just realized he can do the big guy thing behind the scene, but he needs not to face the microphone.
So I 100% agree. But if you recall our last program, it was exactly my point I was pushing, right? That after the press conference, the ambassador needed to take a backstage and allow Amin Modai, and Mr. George was joking about Modai having energy to do their work. But there is something in leadership, especially political leadership, is plausible deniability, right? I want to be able to come out and disassociate myself from an action as the leader. But if I am as the leader, am the one who is carrying out the action, if there is no degree of separation between me and the action, then I cannot disassociate myself from that action. And so when you allow the political institution to carry out the work, then you sit at a place where you can come back later and say, my political party took this decision. While it is true that I am an institutionalist, I disagree with the action of the party. You have that ability because now you've put a degree of separation between you and the action. But and one thing I want to remind our viewership here is that this is not the first time Ambassador Boyka is raising somebody's hand and they get defeated. When he was a sitting vice president, sorry, my neighbors decided they got to show off their bikes. When he was a sitting vice president, he raised representatives' hand, candidates' hand in Lofa County that lost elections. But he still came back in 2017 and won overwhelmingly in Lofa County as a presidential candidate. So I would just like to warn our people against looking too much into this. But you're right, and the person who gave you that insight is 100% right. If you want to be a twins mother, you have to be able to play that role. As a politician, look, I ran just for a measly city council here. I had a spokesperson. I was endorsed by the Democratic Party. I had a political party. So that way, when actions are taken, when speeches are made, even though my political person will talk to me, my campaign manager will talk to me, I have a say. But I had that degree of separation to say, well, what my communication specialist said does not capture my entire thought. We never had to do that, but you have to build that in. That is why every political party has spokespeople. Don't just have a spokesman. You got a bunch of
people. They don't do that. Why?
But if you look at the Unity, and we're talking about Unity Party, but I don't think this is just unique to the Unity Party. But when you look at the Unity Party, they don't understand the difference between the Secretary General, the chairman of the party, and a spokesperson. Quite often you hear Amin Modai speaking, or you hear Mo Ali. Well, you are not the spokespeople, because you're supposed to have trained communication experts that can craft the message, that know how to articulate the message. Because when you're speaking, Mr. George was saying something about body language. Body language counts. We're looking at you. We're looking at all of the, when do you take a deep breath? What words do you emphasize? You know, we're looking at all of those things.
The length of time you respond to media questions, which question to even deflect,
to even deflect,
to say, they don't do that.
They don't. And so I would say to every political party, and even my own candidate that I'm supporting, that there has to be a difference. And political leaders should not be seen as the owner, like they are sole proprietors of the political parties. We have to start building these buffers between our candidates and allow them to operate in the function of the party. The political party should have a bigger say because that is the institution that's carrying you. And last but not least, I don't know if you saw the letter, the communication from Galakpa Kotimai when he conceded.
Yeah.
He started to speak about unifying, but to a greater extent, he spoke about the fact that the Unity Party has spoken. And that was my point I was making the day before yesterday. I said the Unity Party has to speak first before the candidate. And so he came out now, and Galakpa Kotimai has a lot on his shoulders because it was because of him that Ambassador Boakai put his neck out. So that is why if you actually take the time to read his communication, he's already started building the groundwork for unity. So that groundwork that he will allow his political party or his political leader to work on. So yes, you are right, and this is not only a lesson that the Unity Party should take. I think my candidate and the LPP should take that. I will hope the ANC will consider that. I hope the CDC will even consider that. We got to operate within institutions.
Is there a reason, before we go to Pajo, is there a reason, or are they just deliberate in their action?
Well, I don't know. I don't think it is deliberate ignorance. I think you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes, what George talk about it is the political ego, their ego. Like, did you see me today on Spoon? Did you hear me today on ERBC? Did you see me today? So people use that as a way to cement their validity, to kind of,
Victor Smith asking me, where is Samson? What kind of Samson told them?
You better have a protest on your network.
you want us what? Save Samson told? Mr. Smith, good morning.
Yeah, but so to a greater point, is that, do you know me? Have you seen me? Did you hear me today? I was here. So because people want that and they think that is their way of being relevant, I think that's the reason to do that. But I think when we start to put out this ego,
does this undercut this whole thing here? Now, the tone, Darius DeLon, he was on 50-50, he was on OKFM. He was speaking in the direction of what Mo Ali said, that the Lothians devoted their children. So the question becomes, even Ambassador Boakai, look, give me a break. Sometimes we got to say it and not necessarily to appease people. I'm wondering here, if these elections, they were definitive, they were sure 100% that they were going to knock it off. We know all of the lack of the field system, and they told as an institution they didn't even take that into consideration because they thought they lock it down. So I'm wondering, are they won this election where there were questions about what is happening today?
But Mr. So, I mean, no, absolutely not. But here's the thing: I would have done the same thing about India case. If you lose an election as a political institution, what do you expect? You come and say, the one man I ever did that ever was Barack Obama. He said we got to select him, but then he tried to find reason why
they need to have Barack Obama to give block to this.
No. So listen now. When he said that during the midterm that when the Democratic Party lost the House, it was huge. There was a wave. We had a Tea Party wave come against Obama. He said, yeah, we got to select him. We got to beat him. But he started to list some of the reasons why that happened. So the Unity Party, like any serious political entity, ought to be doing what Mo Ali is doing, is to try to downplay the relevance of the win of the opposition. That is just political strategy. I would do the same thing. I mean, I think that it's smart of them to try to downplay that and make it look like, like what I've been saying before, this is a fight between Lothians. We should not overplay the importance of it. So that makes sense for the Unity Party to do that. It makes sense for Darius DeLon, who went down to campaign, to do that. Absolutely. If I was advising them, I would tell them, keep playing that game. That's what works.
Okay. Mr. George.
Yeah. sometimes we're getting old, we don't want to relinquish power.
Oh boy.
And sometimes
who getting old?
I just saw, I said,
Lima uncle in 18 years, Papa.
Hey, my member, when I said, why all right? Let me talk my own Kenya. When the you people and when
the man swear, man. He swear he want to talk his own story.
When my Kenya, I don't want to come for. And you have other people who want to take advantage of all people.
Oh boy.
Two things playing here. The United Party, the Mo Ali, Modal, they don't have the span. It's Joseph B. Boga they rely on. That's why you see everything, they're pushing the men. Instead, they're taking this they're supposed to take this organization now to say, hey, we are the generation now that's supposed to be taking over the party. They don't want to do it. Probably, I don't know, maybe they just don't have the span or the guts to stand up. So they push the ambassador form of VP in front. They say, hey, you know, you do a statement, people will not come after you the way they will come after us. So go there. This man is the standing bearer of the party. Why you want every little thing to address the press? What is your role and your play? Who are the people that you're grooming? Nobody. Everything, we call him the standing bearer. And he said, no, y'all wait. Not every little thing y'all call me. Y'all prepare what you're supposed to prepare, bring it to me, look at it, and you're going to present it. Because the people you're talking to, that your pairs. Show them to your gas pan. But no, it's VP. And the sisters were seen. So tomorrow, if he tango, he said, how can he go back to tell the Bani people, oh no, they'll say, no, oh man, you were saying that also did not win the election. You said it. But if the party is making that statement, it's easier for him. Hey, I'm an institutionalist, but not everything my party said that I will be in line with. But at the same time, I cannot come to condemn them. That's not, and the man a diplomat. That's how it's supposed to be going. But everything, the more I didn't come, is chairman of the party. I mean, standing bearer of the party. And these are things.
Benana Yure, has he joined United Party or he just stay friend to Boaka?
Who?
Benana Yure.
Why would they make join United Party or make their own party? So why you always you want the old man to say something on their platform?
But Benana Yure, he's a let me see his position. He's a, I won't say he's a the political advisor of Omen Boaka. He's a political advisor to Omen Boaka. But what I'm saying is that that's why the other day when I said United Party was doing anything to save their face. And sister was like, I said they're saving their face. And on the tape, I said they will not challenge this thing here. I said they're only doing it to save their face.
Because I don't even see the essence of that press conference.
But that's what I said. I said they were only doing it to save the face from their supporters. Because
that was a fact. But the point I was making was that they had a right to go to court if they wanted to.
Oh no!
I knew they weren't going to go to court because there was no lawyer even on the stage with them when they were making their point. No lawyer.
And I said because the reason why they had not prepared anything on that stage, right by right. I mean, what I would just come and introduce the subject and allow the lawyers to speak. Why they will be challenging the results?
Because more or less that was a legal approach they were aiming at.
They should have only come. These are things, and our lawyer will come here to explain to you people why we will challenge this result, and let the lawyer ask. Let it answer all the legal questions. But instead of that, they just can't, we're going to consult our people. Right away, I conclude, I say, hey, that's the way to save the face to the parties.
Mo Aleki, and sorry, I'll go lower. So, gentlemen, that country, people gambling that country.
To a serious point, a true mark of leadership for Joe Boaka is going to be how long it's going to take him to go back to Lofa County and deliver a major speech in Lofa County in 4 years, a unifying speech. That will be the test of his leadership. If Mo Ali then don't stage manage him to take him back to Lofa to do something before the end of this year, he will lose a lot of credibility in the eyes of Lofians, because there was some break that was created, and people are looking up to him to go back to Lofa, not to do it from Monrovia, to go back to Lofa and have a major conference speech from Lofa about unifying the people of Lofa County.
But the superintendent got a problem. I think our reporter was saying the other day that when the superintendent made a
but he doesn't have to go through the superintendent to go back to Lofa County. He doesn't need a superintendent.
No, I just seen something.
No, I know.
The superintendent and others.
We've been told there are a lot of conversation going on within the Unity Party. I'm wondering if Ambassador Boyka will still, that what happens is Unity Party and CDC, they are all moving in that sort of same direction in terms of the exhibitions of these political leaders. You make them, you have to put them in you have to create a situation where they will be in demand, they will be viable. When they say they are appearing to this quarter, people will be there, but for every minute, every little second, and like just what you said, that's where this whole lack of building institutions is all about. CDC does that. They should apportion some responsibility. Dole used to do that. There are some places he just used to dedicate responsibility to hire former money back. And sometimes some of a high-profile minister, go there. When the Powerball event is about to drop, then you have the big door, the elephant in the room goes there. Then everybody going, why? That's how you're supposed to do it. But every little thing.
It's simple market economics, Mr. So. If a commodity is so much available, in supply, demand drive price drop is less valuable. That's what people are doing with their political leaders in Liberia. If you're talking about the CDC, when you hear Molba Molu speak, it's only at the sycamore tree. That's where they give him free rein to speak. Everywhere else they bring the president, right? And I understand in politics visibility means a lot, but at what level do you then start to saturate the market with visibility where it loses value? It's the same thing that's happening with the CDC. I mean, with the Unity Party, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen with the ANC, because I really like the guy Cummins, and we're talking to our own guy.
Like Cummins, how can you? Sissy,
I don't hate him.
I don't think Amos George going to agree with you. Yeah. So in which context?
No, I don't. Here's the thing. Here's my thing. Let me tell you something. What we are going to do in our campaign, what I'm going to do in my campaign for Tewan Gonglo, is I'm going to be campaigning for my candidate, not against other candidates. I think my candidate is so good that I can campaign for him without campaigning against other people. So I don't have to come here and say lies about Cummins and castigate him to get people to vote for Tewan Gonglo. I just got to talk about Tewan Gonglo.
That's a good point. That's a valid point. This is where most of these talk show podcast commentators, they take 200 of their meetings all about the bad policy of George Weah and this person, ANC, blah, blah. Well, you can draw the contrast. But I think you should be able to sell your candidate, the visions of your candidate, what your candidate to represent. That is not happening. Even the talk show host, when it comes to make more great and make fun out of other people's candidates. And meanwhile, when you ask them, what is this person's agenda for the country, what he's going to do, they can't tell you anything, because the focus for the last years and years, the man wear this shoe, the man do this. Who cares? That's not what the Liberian people are looking for. If you're telling me you bringing your guy who's going to do it differently, I want to know his educational plan. How much is in education?
That is the point, Mr. So, exactly, because that's the reason. I tell people when they say, "Oh, Joe, doesn't speak English well," I say, "But did you understand the message?" Because I'm not here to talk about Joe Weah's inability to speak English, because that is not going to help my people. Joey, I didn't speak the subject very well, not correct. Did I understand the message? Yeah, okay. Let me talk about the message you were sending. Let me tell you what my candidate is going to do.
They brought a woman who subject very agreement.
Right. We're not.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not going to come here and call Adesina Cummings all of his name and call all kind of play towards name. I'm going to look at Adesina Cummings' point, and I'm going to say, okay, here is what my candidate says they're going to do. You can be respectful to people, even if you're in a contest, a political context. Just tell the people what your candidate is going to do. You don't have to castigate other people's candidates.
And you know something? You know the politics now is heating up in Ghana, and I'm following them. Man, it's not getting easy there. But to say, Mr. So, this is one thing about me. I do not really base my argument on people's character, personality, anything. I want the substance to be discussed. Policy-wise, what people are saying. You listen to people in the street, what they have seen, and how can you incorporate that to formulate a policy that will be geared towards the people, to attract these people towards you. That is what I'm all in for. But sometimes I see some of the backyard, people talk, they go, most of the thing is personal. And from that, I don't have the time to waste my energy on people daily life and things all day. What you be doing is to convince the people out there what people want to do differently to change their lifestyle. Like that, let me go back to that. Look at that tape. If you send that tape, that what about that house demolition? You heard what all people were saying. This is the government who voted for. Look at how they're treating us.
Okay. Yeah. And let me sound a little bit ridiculous here. The opposition and the Liberian people, they need to be very careful. Politics is all about driving the wavelength, the language, whatever crazy thing you think that might be happening. There's no specific data, but we're talking about the data here from the University of California that is also that concord with the White House 2014 in terms of the young generations, the voting bloc. George Dance Booker, George, we are do this. Guess what? Who is he communicating with? There is a good political gaming going on right here, appealing to a specific demographic with a specific base, making him to feel like, then,
yes,
I can talk to you. You feel free to talk to me. The same song you dance, that's the same song I'm dancing. The same play football you don't play in the streets corner. You can see me sometimes play those games. You see me here to, how do you call this park? What a new park near again?
Invincible Park.
Invincible Park. You see me there every day. We go there, we drink beer, we do everything. Can you see these other people? They are angry. They can get mad when I'm doing these things because they don't want to count you. They don't want you to be part of the process.
Yep.
So that is another way he's communicating with these people here. And everybody wants to be like him. You see what I'm doing? So I was playing football and I got to this point. The probability of you emulating what I'm doing here, you can get to presidency. Don't mind those people.
He's drawing the line between
let me say that. People don't do this, they don't do this. They must sit down there.
You have to counter that. And how do you counteract it? That's what I ask people. When I ask some people, they say, oh, the mayor is trying, the government is trying. And so now I ask the personal question. I said, I get it. You say Rose, I said, okay, I'll give it to you. But what have changed in your personal life in terms of development and improving your life and that of your family?
All right.
45 years, I will sit down and drink beer with you. That's good because
okay, gentlemen, time has catch up with us.
What have you achieved to become independent, self-sufficient?
They must say that the man jumping over here.
No, but you made a point, Mr. So. I think the opposition, the collective opposition, would be remiss if they think that there is not a strategy that the CDC is applying. And CDC, we got to give them credit. Yeah. They have a brilliant idea. This is one thing that is stuck. people have blamed the educated and the elites for the problems in Liberia. And so what George Weah is doing is ignoring his master's degree, because he knows when he lay that on the ground, when he brings that forward as the point of argument as educated people, he doesn't hold too much ground. So what will he do is he doesn't talk about his master's degree, even though he's counted as being educated with a master's degree. What he does is he comes down and talks to the people and dance buga and release music. We might think it's stupid, but there is a game to get, because it's connecting with people to say, you're showing them who's singing every day, they're making music. The president making the music too, they can be like the president one day. He's trying to let them know that I am like you, you are like me. You are not like these elitist, you are not like these very educated people. That is a message that resonated in 2017. And if we're not careful, like Mr. George is saying, if people are not careful, we might, if you are countering it and you don't come the right way, you might come up sounding very much elitist. Yes. And so you have to be very careful and strategic in the way you come out to counter that. But the CDC has a niche. This thing makes sense. There is a huge part of the electorate that believe that George Weah is like them. He grew up poor like them. He plays soccer. He makes music just like them. He's easy to get to just like them. People might vote for him just because of that.
Yeah. All right. I don't know, Doric. I don't know what sort of immoral lifestyle you're talking about specifically is still to invade here, but we are taking on a bigger projects. There is a specific way people communicate. Communication is done in different forms and in different shifts, and there is a target base in getting things done. But what about we allow people to express their views and opinions right here on this network? We are just giving some of the warning signs so that they can accept it or not. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time this evening. And as usual, so any change in mind with a swimmer or more swimmer, I think going to add on at the end of the show.
Yeah, more swimmer.
My swimmer still this thing. As I adding the education part to it, I saw today that the Ministry of Education added 400 plus more teachers that were volunteers to the payroll. I don't know what the process is, what's the academic credentials look like, but I swear, man, we tell here about the education thing, it's about time we do something good about it.
You have more addition as well, man, Pa George?
My I swear here is that we didn't talk about the budget that the House of Representatives recast.
Okay. That one.
4 pages. 4 pages. What? It is $86 million or something. 4 pages.
All right. Thank you so much.
And you know
what? Keep those one that when we come back here, we'll have a conversation on that. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time this evening. By God's willing, we're going to be back here same time, same station. Not tomorrow, probably. Tomorrow is what, Saturday? No, not tomorrow. We're going to see what happens on Sunday. A lot of things going around. And to our valuable viewers, listeners across the globe, in Liberia, outside of Liberia, I want to thank you so much for your time. Please send us your comments, your suggestion as to how we can enhance this network here. And if there are specific issues you want us to talk, you can also bring those issues out and we will have them discussed. Thank you so much for those of you that call your comments. And Mr. Smith, Samson is okay. He's doing well. And by God's willing, he's going to be in the next couple of days. Until then, guys, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Hallelujah. 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 Hey. Hallelujah. Giving, hallelujah, giving the highest praise, hallelujah, giving the highest praise, hallelujah, giving the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give it.
And our man was correct. The president, the gentleman, is a former president of Angola. President José Eduardo dos Santos dies at the age of 79. 4 decades he led the people of Angola. He died today at the age of 79. And I think it was Papi. Who was this guy here? Papi, let me see. He got this answer here. Can I get him here quickly? He make a pick here. He had a good guess. Yeah. Okay, this is Papi. Yeah, Papi Tide Peewee. Thank you so much. Good history keeping that. Jose dos Santos of Angola. The saint died today at the age of 79. Thank you so much. Hallelujah. All right. So, folks, have a pleasant evening, and by God's willing, we'll see you back here again. Bye-bye.